Hey, welcome to the Chris and Mike Show. He's Mike. I'm Chris, and this is Morgan, and he is from Kava. We are brought to you by Riverside FM, the one and only choice for your podcasting platforms. Remember, we're live on Twitch, YouTube, and chrisandmikeshow.com. So all 34 of you countries out there, you can chime in and catch us live right here and right now. And then we will have the episode in its entirety, along with all the shorts, reels, etc., dropped in a couple weeks or so. With that being said, Morgan Smith from Kava Root. Right? Is that what we're calling it? Kava root?
Yeah, I mean, I import kava root from throughout the South Pacific. My company's name is Calm with Kava.
Calm with Kava, okay.
I'm a kava guy. I'm a kava nerd.
Kava guy. So you found us because you watched the Apache Joe show, and so you sent me an email, or us an email to the show, wanted to talk about your product. So I'm pulling up your website right now. If you can see that, we are kava.com. So give us a little bit of insight as to what it's the website's kava.com, Kava.com. So give us a little bit of, we're in an elevator, Morgan. Pitch your stuff, man.
Well, it's calmwithkava.com. It's calm with a K, calmwithkava.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, kava it's a root that's grown throughout the South Pacific, right? So there's a lot of different kava companies out there, and so I'm just one of them, right?
Okay.
But kava is a plant that's been grown throughout the South Pacific.
Cool.
And kava has, and it's been used for a long time. It's been used for 3,000 years to kind of help people connect with one another and relax. And,
nice.
It's kind of like a Polynesian peace pipe.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
So now expand on how you came to be in this field of expertise. What brought you to this? And then how do people use it and apply it that don't know anything about it? Because I guess I don't know much about it.
Yeah, so I found it because like 10, 12 years ago, I was pretty anxious. I was depressed. I was in a bad spot, and I went to my doctor and I asked them for some help, and I got some benzodiazepines, like a Xanax, right? And
correct. Been through it myself.
Okay, all right. So you guys are fully aware what that experience is like. For me personally, it hit me really strong. It was like a really crazy sort of a situation where I couldn't really function on it. I took a pill and then I just blacked out. Like I don't remember what I did the rest of the day.
Wow.
Like I was driving coworkers to lunch and stuff, and that was not something that was a good thing for me or my family, so I needed to find an alternative to help me kind of deal with the stresses of life, and I found kava.
Okay, now how did that help? It seems like this is 180 degrees from what you and I experienced with benzos. For me, I just had no emotions. I had no highs or lows anymore, right? I was just kind of existing for the year or two, maybe 3 that I took those. And I just got tired of it. I felt like I was just waking up and every day was Groundhog Day, right? I'm doing the same thing, but I'm not having any fun, really. I'm not feeling the good times, and I'm also not experiencing the bad times. But when you're going through life like that, you don't realize you're just on autopilot, right? So how did kava take away the anxiety? Because we suffer that together, I can promise you. But still allow you to enjoy, a day-to-day existence.
Yeah, I mean, look, like I want to be very careful with like how I say this because, I'm registered with the FDA, and so I cannot say that kava is going to help with any particular medical claim.
I'm just asking
so
your
anxiety.
Opinion.
Yeah. No, I just want to be very clear here, right?
Sure,
like
yeah.
I'm not interested in getting sued by anyone, and I certainly don't want to sell something
understood.
in a way that's problematic. But I will say this: I think that a lot of the pharmaceuticals out there are, they're long-term solutions for what a lot of people experience as a short-term problem, right? So I know personally, in my experience, I was going through a particular crisis that lasted a couple of months. I did not need something that was going to last for years and years and years, right? I did not need to be on something for a long time.
Yeah.
And so, and I'm not saying Western medicine is bad, right? My wife is a nurse and my brother's a doctor. I believe in Western medicine, but I think that there should be more of a holistic viewpoint on like what we could potentially use to help us get through our day. And so kava is something that really helps you relax. It helps you calm down. At the end of the day, I really like to have it kind of like to, kind of just take a couple of minutes, think about what happened during the day, think about what I can do tomorrow better. And kava kind of helps to just tone down some of those thoughts and just chill out, right? I look at it like kind of like an intense chamomile. Or maybe like a tenth of weed, right? Like it's not something that's going to be super
I can relate
intense.
to that as well.
Yeah, like you're not going to be on the ceiling. You're not going to be in space.
Sure.
You're still going to make good decisions, and you're also going to remember what you did last night. So that's kind of how I look at kava.
That's a great
So
description.
there's a little stigma with it, right? Anything that's not like you said, your FDA, you don't want to specifically claim things because I get that. But there's always a little bit of stigma with stuff that's not Western medicine, right? Because okay, the side effects of this and that, and my wife being my wife, when I shared your email, she automatically Googled everything because that's what she does, right? Even though she doesn't watch the shit, because it's kind of like when Mike and I would write our songs in the band and stuff, she could care less when the stuff comes out because she lives it. So
Sure.
she'll never watch it, but she Googled it and she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna watch this one," which will be cool if she actually does, because she helped me write a book and she's never read the book and people give her shit. So when people have this, they create the stigma about things they don't understand, right? It's like when marijuana became legalized from a medical purpose, everybody's up in arms, right? Oh, you can't do that, you can't do that,
Sure.
world's gonna crash, right? They looked at Colorado and how Colorado had all these problems because of that. But
Even
it's kind of
though it was the
right,
most prescribed painkiller from 18 whatever until
right,
1905 when aspirin came back around, right?
right,
Doctors
right.
prescribed it regularly and nobody even talked about the high. They only
No,
talked about the medical benefit. It cures my anxiety, my pain,
right.
it takes away my arthritis, makes me hungry again, whatever.
Right. And it's a reason now that it's the most prescribed. Even like I've gone to therapy because I had some issues from a child growing up. And my therapist, one point in time, she wanted to put me on meds. I was like, no, I don't. I'm not doing meds. I've just worked through this. I don't need to be medicated. She's like, well, smoke pot. And I was like, kind of like, really? And so she explained the benefits of it. So I totally get how that's evolved over time, and there's a reason why the NFL and baseball, MLB and stuff, they don't test for pot anymore because it helps with recovery and pain and all that kind of jazz. So when somebody comes at you with negative connotations about kava and your product and what you're doing, how do you help them understand it's not a bad thing, because it's like anything else, it's a plant-based root, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
And
okay. So I'm really glad that you bring this up, because that is the number one reason I reached out, is because I feel like I'm kind of on a mission. I'm a bit of a evangelist. I'm someone that I just really think that kava
like
can be
that.
very beneficial to people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And so I feel like it's doing the plant, and by the way, the people that have been growing it for 3,000 years, a disservice if we're saying that kava
yeah.
is one thing when it's completely,
Okay. Well, and
different.
that's why you're here, Morgan, because we want your side of it from somebody who is championing the cause. It's kind of like hemp's been around since, Jesus was walking around in hemp suits, man. Like, you can't
Yeah.
tell me
Yeah.
Jesus wasn't in the desert 40 days and 40 nights and wasn't doing a little opium or smoking a little bit of weed, because he's randomly talking to people that aren't there. Okay.
Of course
And
they were. They didn't have the internet or television,
right,
And then Moses and the burning bush. I'm pretty sure he's got something going on.
right. And the
That was
water
the
into wine. What'd you
that
actually
was
put
the
in that
acacia
water to make
bush.
people think it was wine?
Yeah. Yeah.
The
So
burning bush
I
was
think
clearly the acacia bush, correct?
Right.
who knows, man. I'm not look. I'm not a biblical scholar here, but
Yeah, neither
I think
nor-
there's something
yeah.
going on.
Yeah, neither are we,
But
man.
so like if you look at Australia, they did a harm ranking study of all of
Okay.
these different substances. It was like 50 different substances,
Okay.
and alcohol was 98 out of 100 in terms of
Oh,
how
yeah.
harmful it was. Right? We all know that. We all we've all seen our drunk uncle and like kind of what how many Christmases he's screwed up. Right? Maybe you were the
21,
drunk uncle. I don't
21,
know.
21 years sober right here.
Nice job, dude.
Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you.
so I mean, you get it, right? Alcohol is terrible,
absolutely.
and everyone knows it. And on this exact, and if you look at it even from like not even just like a personal health situation, but even just from like a macro economy scale, you go like, well, how
Yeah.
many billions of dollars are lost because of hangovers? How many
Right.
people screw up their entire lives and careers over this stuff? It's super harmful. Kava in that exact same study was a 2. It was a 2 out of 100. So if you talk about like, kava does this or does that, blah blah, I can almost guarantee you it's far more benign than any other substance that you're putting into your body. I guarantee you that soda that you drank yesterday, that's worse for you than kava is.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
you
Right?
brought
So
up
like
my
you can't really
You brought up my number one argument, Morgan. No, you're fine. I interrupted you, but it's important that people know on every corner you can buy enough alcohol every minute of every day to kill yourself.
Yep.
Yes.
And it will, right? You
Yeah,
have
hell,
to
you got
smoke
$20,
your
you can buy
body
black
weight
tar heroin.
in marijuana to kill yourself. You can't do
Right.
it, right? There's been zero
Right.
deaths from people overdosing on marijuana. Unless they jumped
Right.
off a bridge. And those
Right.
kind
Looking
of
for
things
that bag
happen.
of Cheetos that fell out of their car while they were driving.
Right.
That's the only
right.
reason they're jumping off a bridge, right?
So that's a very
Because-
important point for you to bring up is that, this is a 2 out of 100 scale.
And by the way, kava is not physically addictive. It has zero tolerance issues. So you could take it every single day for 2 years, not have it the next day, and you won't care.
It would
does
be on
not
the par
create
with
any-
eating lettuce every day, right? You're not going to get addicted
Yeah.
to lettuce.
It does not create dependence, right? Now, obviously, anything can be habitual, right? You could drink kava every single day because you like the effects and you like
Right.
how it makes you feel, but that is very different from a physical withdrawal effect that you could get from most other substances out there. And the second thing that you brought up, Mike, is that you cannot overdose on kava. You cannot do that.
Sure.
So, I just think of it from like a harm perspective. Man, it is better for you than basically anything out there.
Okay, now talk to me about the applications, right? We've discussed that it's, I'm glad that Chris brought that up because it's important for people to know it's not dangerous, right? Marijuana is not dangerous. It's important to know drugs that are dangerous versus drugs that aren't. And I'm starting to think you don't call this a drug, it's a plant, right? Marijuana is a plant. I don't really like when they lump them into the drug category. So if I'm going to use it for my anxiety, or maybe I'm going through a rough patch where, things are changing, where my routine is upended, how do I apply this in my life now? Because I'm learning right along with everybody else. I don't really know a lot about it. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, just to touch on your first point really quick here too, kava is considered a food, and it's
Oh.
also considered a dietary supplement. It's
Okay.
the same way in which you look at coffee as a food and you look at coffee extract as a supplement. It's the same thing. It's the exact same thing, right? And so it's not a drug. It's just like you said. It's not a drug. It's a food. So I think that's pretty important. Personally, I like to drink it at night. So kava is a sedative. It is going to relax you. It is all kavas are sedative. There's 100 different varieties of them that are noble kavas, which are basically kavas that you can drink every single day. And of those, right, there's a spectrum. It's kind of like marijuana in that some are going to be more sedative than others, and some are going to be more euphoric than others. If you look at a map and you look at where kava originated, it originated in Vanuatu. And in Vanuatu, it's an archipelago a couple of 100 miles west of Fiji. And it started out as a wild plant, and it was a canoe plant. And as they put it in their canoes and they went on to other islands to the east, it changed and morphed as it hit different types of ecosystems.
Really?
And because of that, you have different varieties of it. Yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
and it's an invention of the South Pacific people. It's something that without those people, you would not have kava today. It does not reproduce on its own. It has to
Wow.
have people to do this.
Interesting.
That is
Yeah, and so I bring that up because when you talk about like something that you want to, or like kind of daily sort of rituals or how you could apply it in your own life.
Yeah.
In Vanuatu, they like to drink it at 4 or 5 o'clock at night. They drink it for an hour or two, very strong, concentrated, coconut shells, right? Shells worth of kava. And then they have dinner and they go to sleep. In Fiji or Tonga, they'll drink it all night long. And because it's more diluted and the varieties are far more, they're just
potent?
not as intensely sedative.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
would you
and so it
say
kinda
that the
depends on
first
what you would look-
example is
Okay.
more introspective and the second example is more social?
Absolutely.
Right. So
I like that you
the
just
people
tapped into
in
that. Yeah.
Fiji are using it as well. It's not a mystery that I've smoked my fair share of marijuana. I've used it for both, right? I use it for being introspective when I sit down to write music, but I also like in a social setting with my friends,
Yeah. Yeah,
discuss
it's the exact same
world
kind of
events
thing.
or
So if-
whatever.
I like to hang out with a bunch of Tongans here in Phoenix, and the Tongans, they will like, I'm not even kidding here when I say I showed up to a place at like 6 o'clock at night, and I left at 3 in the morning, and they
Wow.
were still going hard. I think it was 10 in the morning. I texted my buddy and I said, "Hey man, last night was a lot of fun. so good to see you. He texts me a picture back. They're still there hanging out, drinking kava together. They're like,
Wow.
we're going to make some fry bread in a couple minutes here. Right? So like they just love to drink it, for a long time with their friends, right? Like
Okay,
you said,
so
it's completely different styles.
so not only does it has a calming effect, but like so now I'm intrigued now because like if I'm drinking something, from 6 in the morning or 6 at night until like like you said the next morning, is it kind of just is it more like like you kind of referenced the chamomile tea earlier? So it's just kind of like that. You're just kind of slowly sipping tea for 6 hours and just kind of hanging out, socializing, kind of just natural, like chill vibe, but you're not high, you're not, stoned, you're not drunk. It's just,
You're definitely feeling it, right? Kava
Okay.
is euphoric. It
Okay.
does cause definite feelings of just very
Okay.
kind of chill relaxation, right?
Oh,
And
okay,
you're
okay.
definitely going to be more socially, sort of less socially anxious, and
Okay.
so you definitely feel it in your
Okay,
head. And
gotcha.
that's the thing that kind of sold me on kava originally when I was going through all my issues 12 years ago.
Sure.
I went through like 10 or 12 different sort of substances to try to see what worked best for me. I tried CBD, right? I remember
Yeah.
when people used to kind of sell CBD, they would.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like kava is what people thought CBD was 10 or 12 years ago, right? You know, how
Oh,
people are like, "Oh
interesting.
yeah, I took CBD, I didn't feel anything, I didn't really
Yeah.
care about it. I never
Yeah,
tried it again."
I tried a little bit and I didn't feel anything either. I just thought, well, this is dumb. Like,
I
what's the
don't
point?
think
Like,
it works for some people.
yeah, somebody gave me some CBD
Yeah.
balm, and I'm like,
I
it
actually
smells
have
nice.
friends who, and I'm guilty of this a little bit myself, where edibles just don't work. You hear horror stories about people who take edibles and they get pinned to the couch for 8 hours, right? And they can't move anything but their eyes. So I
I've
just
had that
kept
experience.
taking.
It's terrible.
I kept. See, there
Right.
you go. Now I could take 300 milligrams and drive to McDonald's and get a hamburger and come home and nothing. I
That's
don't have,
crazy.
and I think part of it's I've experienced it so
Tolerance.
many times, but I don't think when that chemical reaction takes place, it is the same for everyone, right? Because I actually have friends who have taken 1,000 milligrams and felt nothing. I'm not going to be that guy.
I
But-
can't relate to that at all.
Sure.
Yeah, I can't either.
And I
So
take
that's
10
why I'm-
milligrams and I'm on the floor, dude.
Yeah.
I'm kind of reinforcing where you were going with. You have to, through trial and error with some of these things, no differently than your doctor does when he's prescribing benzos.
Right.
That's very important for people to know. That guy has, or gal, has no idea how you're going to react to those. They don't.
Yep. Yep.
It's the practice
100%.
of medicine, right?
They just dole out psychotropics. Right. They dole out psychotropics like they're M&Ms. Let's try this one, this one, and this one and see if it works. If that
But
doesn't
it's
work, we're going to
super
take this one way
important
up
to
this
his
dose, low that
point.
dosage, and all of a sudden, right.
that you experience different, like there's
Mm-hmm.
indicas, there's sativas, there's different strains and levels of edibles. You have to start out with, little samples of different ones, which is what you were talking about doing with the kava. If
Yeah.
one thing doesn't
Yeah.
work for you, try the other.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always tell people when they want to try kava for the first time, there's a couple of basic rules. I would say the first is I always try traditional kava, right? There's a ton of different types of kava products out there, like different formats, right? You'd have like traditional kavas, you'd have instant kavas, you have kava extract products. I say go for the real deal traditional thing, invite some friends over, experience it together, and do it on an empty stomach, and you're gonna have a great time, at least hanging out with your friends, drinking some muddy water and talking about how crazy the feelings are. But and I also say I think that you can't just try one type of kava and think that you know what kava is. So many people I've talked to go, "Oh, well, I had kava from Vanuatu," and then I go, "Okay, well, did you try kava from Tonga? Because it's going to feel completely different. It's going to taste completely different." And Vanuatu kavas, they're much more like they taste like a pine cone. They're very piney. They're very bitter. Kava in Tongan means bitter. And the more like the closer it is to the wild kavas back in the day before they domesticated kava, it is much more bitter. It's much more piney. And the further east you go, the much more they become much more sort of mellow in their flavor, and they're just not as intense. And so certain people just don't like different types of kava because of either the flavor or the smell or or the effects,
Effect.
right? So
Effect,
you got to
okay.
try different types in order to see which one might fit
So,
you.
so would it be good for someone to start with something has kind of, I don't want to say potency per se, but it's kind of a lower potency? Just if this is like, I've never drank kava in my life. I don't
Me
drink
neither.
alcohol. I don't do any kinds of painkillers and shit like that because I'm an alcoholic. So my system is very just benign. Like the first time I had a fake beer after being sober for 5 years, my brain was like, "What the hell is this?" My tongue's like, "Oh, beer." My brain didn't understand, and it was a struggle. And so it took me about a year to really figure out, okay, I can handle fake beer as long as I have this mindset. If I don't have a fake beer because I want a beer. I have a fake beer because it's a fleeting thought while I'm grilling. Oh, it'd be cool to have a beer right now. Oh, that's right. I got Heineken Zero in the fridge, right? So for someone like me who has zero tolerance to anything and everything, because I drink 1 cup of coffee every morning with hemp milk, and then the rest of my day is water and iced tea. For the most part, I do throw in, juices, or not apple juice, but orange juice and grape juice and watermelon juice, that type of stuff. But I'm very clean eating. So if I was to go to Tonga Kava, I would just kind of thinking that would just sit me on my ass, and I'm going to see, rainbows and unicorns with, people falling out of the walls. Is that accurate? Should I go with a little bit more mellow beginning, kind of diluted over, from Tonga to like Arizona, like find an Arizona version?
Yeah, well, I would answer that like this.
Okay.
Earlier we were talking about how coffee is a food. Kava is a food, right?
Okay.
When you go buy coffee, what are your how do you determine which type of coffee to buy?
We stumbled across this I forget what it's called now. Mike introduced me to this one brand. We liked that, and then we couldn't find that one day, so we found this one that had a pirate ship on it, said salted caramel, and we've stuck with that ever since.
Oh, that sounds
Okay.
good too.
You know what's interesting is that you never mentioned the caffeine content.
No, because I could care less about the caffeine content. Like I don't drink sodas at all, so like
He's
legit.
proving your point.
Oh,
he's-
oh.
He's making his point for you.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right
no.
over my-
So
right
what
over-
I'm
sorry,
saying is
Morgan.
that no. I mean, but that's exactly my point is that
Okay.
I don't look at kava as, oh, this needs to be a certain strength or something.
Okay.
If you have a cup of coffee in the morning and for some reason it just doesn't hit, or maybe you just had an early morning and need another one, you
Yeah.
just go have a second cup of coffee.
Oh.
It's the exact same thing with
Okay.
kava. And
Okay, cool.
the reason earlier I was talking about shells, like coconut
Yeah.
shells, we literally talk about a shell as like a serving of kava, right? And so
Okay.
when I prepare kava for myself, I will prepare 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 shells of kava,
Okay.
which is like 6 to 8 ounces of the actual prepared beverage. And then I'll just have as many shells of kava as I want. And you space it out every 10, 15 minutes.
Okay.
And that way you can kind of get to the point where you want to
Gotcha.
be, and you don't have to go higher than that. Or, if you just want one, that's fine too. It's just, you can control it is what I'm saying. It's not like an edible where you take it and then you're just on the
Okay.
ceiling.
Seeing purple elephants flying.
It's also one other
Okay.
thing I'll say is that like I feel like
Yeah.
a lot of people they try to replace kava with other things, right? And they try to say like, oh well, I'm going to replace alcohol with kava, or I'm going to replace
Right.
weed with kava. Kava is so much more subtle and so much more just mellow. It is not something that's super intense.
Okay.
But I think that to me that's a selling point because
Yeah.
I don't want to be there. I got kids, man. I got a wife who needs me to operate, so
Right.
I gotta do things. And so
Yeah.
to me, I don't want something that's super intense.
So you
but I
can
want
think
something
of
that
this
I'm gonna
more
be
as
with.
meditation than,
It's a great way to look at it.
anybody. I'm thinking that Chris is thinking in the direction that I was thinking at first because we've experienced addiction, right? So
Mm-hmm.
your mind instantly goes to, oh my God, I don't want it to be like this, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had that same reaction at first, and my mind was going there too. So anybody that's listening to this that was a former addict would think the same thing. So I like how you described it as standing in the aisle of the grocery store and deciding between, my mother
Yeah.
likes to drink tea every day, so she picks her tea, right? It's the same concept. She would just pick her strain of kava. You can think of strains of tea and coffee is the same thing. Or what brand of milk do you buy? Skim milk, whole milk,
Right.
It's
Well,
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
so
the
it's kind of
food
like the best.
aspect.
So it's kind of like the best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup. right?
Yeah, except this is the anti-coffee, so it's like the best
Right.
part of going, or the best part of chilling out is Koma Kava. I don't
Best
We
part
need,
of
we
chilling
need a
out
jingle.
is
You
fading
need a
off
jingle,
the-
Morgan. Yeah,
Hey,
we
you
need a
guys are
jingle, man.
musicians. I'm
You know,
leaving that to you.
yeah, like good to the last drop, Maxwell House, right?
You
need
need
a
something
jingle.
going off into the Netherland, sleep
Right.
land.
So here's a question. So you drinking kava, get up in the morning, like you drink it at night, like you said. So you have your kava at night, and you need to run to the store. You're completely fine running to the store, driving, no issues.
Yeah, I mean, I think on our bags it says not to operate heavy machinery. Personally, hasn't been a huge issue for me. I'm not telling people to go do that, but it's not
Right.
something that's going to be like, super intense.
Yeah. Now, is there an age demographic for it? Like nobody under 18, nobody under 10, nobody under 5. What's that?
No,
No?
it's
Okay.
like I said, it's a food.
Okay.
I have given it to my son, right?
Okay.
I've got a bunch of buddies who are Polynesians, and
Yeah.
their teenage sons will walk in and say, "Hey, come have a shell of kava with me," and they'll have
Okay.
one or two of them.
Okay.
Actually, that's kind of an interesting topic because
That's why I asked it.
Yeah, I gave it to my son when he was going through some. I won't go through exactly
Yeah.
what happened.
You don't
but
have to go through
it,
the
it was
specifics.
pretty traumatic experience for him, and we were
Okay.
not at home, and I could
Okay.
not take him to a doctor, and I needed something to help him relax because it just
Okay.
was a bad situation.
It's bad. Okay.
And it helped, and it
Cool.
definitely helped. Now, is it something that I would say you should have your kids drink? No, I think that you should
Okay.
go to your doctor and see if they're okay with it.
Okay.
But it's also, I mean, if you look at old Hawaiian stories, so Hawaiian Ava has a lot of interesting historical background. There's a variety of Hawaiian Ava. Now they call it Ava, not Kava, called
Okay.
Nene, and Nene it was historically used for teething babies or fussy
Oh.
babies.
Yeah.
So the kava root itself, it has inside of it something called kavain, which
Okay.
is if you think of when you go to the dentist and you have Novocaine and it numbs your mouth.
Yeah.
Well, kavain has similar properties. It'll numb your
Okay.
mouth. It'll numb your throat. And so when you chew on the root, it'll numb the gums.
Interesting.
Right. So if you're a teething baby,
Yeah.
that would help your gums. Right.
Absolutely.
So historically, it's been used for kids. Yes.
I think
Okay.
it's important for people to know too that a lot of these cultures they didn't abuse these things. They used them for
Right.
what they were intended for, right? So if you go to Europe, you're going to find a bunch of kids who drink and you're going to be like, "Holy crap, they're drinking wine at lunch or
Right.
beer at dinner."
Yeah.
That's the only time they do that and it's maybe once
Right.
in a while, right? They don't look at it
Right.
as
It's
something
part of the
that,
culture.
"Oh, wow, this tasted good, so I'm going to do it every day."
Right.
It's just
Right. It's like how
not-
Germany drinks warm beer, where
Yeah.
Americans drink cold beer. Like, if you're in Germany, you're straight up drinking room temperature beer, because that's how they drink it.
So weird.
Right? Really weird.
wouldn't even imagine it.
But that goes back to what Mike just said. So the cultures, I mean, before Western medicine, you had all these cultures all over the world doing homeopathic remedies for all different kinds of things. And a lot of that was based on the roots and plants and what you found in the jungles and the forests and all that kind of shit, right? It
And it's
wasn't just
amazing when you use
Right.
it the way it was intended. It
Yeah.
actually, you're like, wow, it works if I don't do it from 7 o'clock in the morning until 11 o'clock at night, right?
Right,
Which
right.
is, I've went through those periods in my life where if one is good, 100 must be better. So
yeah.
when you start using these plants, these food products, these whatever, magic mushrooms even, there's things that if they're used the way that they were intended in nature, they're going to be beneficial to the human. And that's what I'm hearing the longer that you're explaining this to us, right? Here's how you use it effectively, and here's what it will do for you if done effectively.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know, like, I feel like I've met so many people who use kava for different reasons, right? So some people, I know people that drink it while they're at work and they just want to kind of just tone down the stress levels at work. Personally, I'm not really a guy that, does that. When I drink kava, I'm like, I want to just like chill out.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to be working.
Yeah, so I got your site up again. So this is the Kona Kava Basic Starter Kit.
So this is actually a different company. This is not my company.
Oh,
my
my bad.
company is called. No, it's all good. It's my company is called Calm with Kava.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, dang it. I got to get to your website then. I'm sorry.
it's all good. It's Calm with a
crap
K.
off there.
Calmwithkava.com. No, it's
Calm
all
with a
good.
K.
It's all
Okay.
good.
Calm with a K.
Like no, actually, Calm with Kava was started by a different guy who was my buddy named Mike, and Mike started the company in 2009 when he went on a honeymoon with his wife Tiffany to Fiji, and he drank kava for the first time, and he fell in love with it, and he started importing his own kava because he couldn't find any good kavas. He passed away in 2020, and he was a good friend of mine.
Oh,
I'm
sorry.
And it's it was very difficult. But one thing that has always kind of struck me that he said it all the time was the phrase rising tides raise all ships, right? And I think that that's the same kind of thing. The kava industry is so small that I feel like if anyone loves kava, they're going to be trying my kavas, they're going to be trying other people's kavas.
Sure.
And so I'm not
I know, but I
it's
don't.
fine.
I didn't mean to unintentionally share somebody else's website
okay.
because that's not what we do. And you did say that earlier on, but it didn't register with me because I haven't drank my kava today, Morgan.
And he just threw about 10 years worth of information at us in 20 minutes.
Right.
Yeah, my bad, dude.
No, you're good. No, that's why you're here, man.
I
Because
mean that in a good way. I just learned
Yeah.
a whole bunch in a very short
Yeah.
amount of time. I love that.
yeah,
I didn't mean
absolutely.
that in a bad way at all, man.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
So
I had
the different
no idea
kind.
what this was before you started talking. Sorry.
Yeah.
Chris.
So I have the site up. So there's the different kinds of types you have listed on your site is micronized, instant, medium grind, instant kava, extract products, kava seltzers, and bundles. So I'm assuming the medium grind is kind of like coffee grounds, or is it something that it's a fine powder?
Yeah, that's actually like the perfect way to describe it. Medium grind kava is the traditional way of doing it. So they take the kava roots and they pull them out of the ground, they wash them off, and then they dehydrate them, and then we grind them up right into some sort of a rough powder. And you take that rough powder and like you can see at the bottom there, there's the sample pack, there's strainers, right?
Yeah.
So you take that strainer and you kind of strain it out almost like a tea, right? So the
Oh.
FDA actually considers kava to be a tea.
Okay.
And so that's the so that's the traditional way of doing it. Micronized or instant varieties, you can just mix it right into your cup and go. And then we have those concentrates there that are like they're kava extract products that are mixed with juices and things like that. But
Gotcha.
the extract products are not as like intense. It's interesting that we brought up edibles so early on because kava has a strange thing where most things when you do an extract of it, it becomes stronger. Kava is not the same. Kava extract products, you do not feel
Really?
the full effects of kava. Yeah, I don't know why,
Wow.
but you get about 60 to 70% there. You don't get that extra 30%.
Okay.
That is strange because you're right. Your liver usually with THC, it changes into 11 hydroxy metabolite, right? Which is 4 to 5 times more psychoactive than THC, which is why you freak out. If you haven't dealt with those things that are in the files in the back of your mind that you don't know are there, you're going to real quick.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a little bit different, but that's just kind of the way it goes.
Okay.
So
that's
all
good
of
to
these
know.
kavas, though, they're all a little bit different. And they all kind of, some are, like I said earlier, some are more sedative, some are more euphoric. And then those private reserve ones. Those are like the really fancy ones. So sometimes
Well, that's why I clicked on it, Morgan, because it's like, ooh, private reserve. It's kind of like the private Jack when I was drinking. I got to get the best Jack.
Oh, yeah, you got to have that.
Right.
Yeah. And so it's a very like different sort of thing because they're types of kavas that are kind of small batch, right? So if you think of any sort of farmed product, the vast majority of the time you're talking about farms that are huge, right? If you think about buying potatoes, these potato farms are thousands of acres.
Sure.
Kava is completely different. It's mainly farmed by smallholder, farmers that have 10 or 15 plants in their backyard.
Wow.
And then they use it like a
Oh.
savings account. So whenever they want to
Oh.
buy, because they don't really use money in these areas of Polynesia all that much, they use money to pay for their kids' schooling, maybe for tuition or for school uniforms, or they'll sell it or they'll sell their kava for like building materials. Other than that, they plant everything that they've got and this is Dahonu, by the way. This is a great company that we partnered with. We don't
Okay.
currently have it in stock, but
I
if you
saw
go to the
that. They're all
Dahonu
sold
website,
out.
They've got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the Dahonu website, they've got some, but I just don't have any
Okay.
personally.
Okay, that's
in our
okay.
warehouse right now.
That's okay.
But yeah, so it's they basically have 10 or 15 plants, and whenever they want to sell one, they'll sell it
Okay.
to someone who's going around collecting kava. So there's not really any large scale farms of kava.
Okay.
That's crazy.
And we also have our own farm on the Big Island of Hawaii, which is we're very excited. about.
Either Becky told me that or you told me that in the original contact with the fact that you do have a farm in Hawaii. So that's kind of cool, man.
Yeah, it actually started. So Mike, the guy we were talking about earlier, who started Calling
Yeah.
with Kava, he had about 100 plants in Hawaii, and
Okay.
when he passed away, we bought his land and
Okay.
bought some more land, and that way now from his 100 plants that he had, we now have 15,000 plants.
Wow.
What he
Smokes.
planted. Yeah,
Wow.
so we're I mean, I feel like we're kind of doing, we're kind of living out Mike's vision and
Do you
trying
have
to
a
keep
picture of
his-
this anywhere, Morgan? What that looks like?
Of the farm? Yeah. So
Yeah.
if you go
I would
to,
love to see that.
yeah, of course. If you go to Instagram, or you could go to the website as well, but
I'm on the
it's called
website now. This website or a different one?
No, the farm has its own website,
Oh.
but the Instagram might be the better kind of way to kind of see what's going on right
Okay.
now.
Let me go to
It's
Instagram.
it's called Puiwa, which is Puiwa.
Hold on, I gotta pull
So
it
in
up.
Hawaiian, W's are pronounced as a V.
Okay, Puwia.
Puiwa. Are you on
Okay.
Instagram right now?
I am. I have not shared it yet
Yeah.
because I want to make sure I pull it up first.
Yeah, it's Puiwa Farms Hawaii is the handle.
Puiwa Farms.
Hawaii.
Farms. Hawaii. There it is. Okay. I'm going to follow it. And then I'm going to find a good picture and then I'll share it.
Yeah, so there's 13 varieties of Hawaiian Ava, and they're all quite nice. And if you think about it from like a genetic standpoint, these guys, they were putting kava in their canoes and traveling across the ocean,
Yeah.
hoping to find land, right?
Yep.
And it is what that tells you is that they probably took the very best that they had. They took their best medicines, they took their best foods, they took their best everything.
Yeah.
And so eventually you got these varieties of kava that literally went through 2,000 to 3,000 years of human, intervention to get the very best plants. And
Right.
that's what Hawaiian Ava is like.
So is this a kava plant that's on the screen right now?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's why
So
I
is
wanted
this a
to
kava
pull
plant?
it up. Yeah.
Yep. That's a kava
That's-
plant.
They're big, man.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
had no
yeah, they
idea.
can
I
get
mean,
And where
upwards
can
of-
this grow?
Yeah, so they get upwards of 10 to 12 feet tall, and it grows
Wow.
pretty much only throughout Micronesia and Polynesia, and parts of
Okay.
Micronesia as well. So all throughout the South Pacific, generally
we couldn't
between
grow
like
this in our
65 and
backyard.
85 degrees.
So we're not. So
probably
you
not.
and I live in Arizona, so I'm not putting this because I live on an acre, so I'm not taking a section of my acre off and growing kava plants.
I think you'd have a hard time. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you'd have a hard time.
Little
It
dry.
requires a lot of humidity, a lot
Okay.
of water, and
I was thinking side hustle. Hey, Mike, hey, Morgan, I got some kava for you.
A little dry.
yeah. But the
So
other
this
thing
is
that
kinda
kinda
cool.
makes it difficult. Yeah.
This sorry to interrupt you, but this is kind of cool. This little reel is kind of showing you how you go from plant to liquid. So there's the seeds, right? That's when you're planting it, starting it.
Yep. So those
And
are
then there's
cuttings that we took.
Okay. So that's the growth.
Yep.
And then there's the roots, which is where it comes from, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Washed
a
and
few
dried.
years from that little seed to what the tall plant.
Yes, it takes at
Wow.
least
Wow.
about 3 years to make kava.
Wow.
So you generally,
But
you
it-
really ideally want 5 years, but yeah.
So $79 a bag is not bad for the amount of time that you invest to make this product.
It's not.
Well, I mean, most of them are about 60 to 65 a bag.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, if you think about what went into that, it's
Yeah.
actually kind of okay, to be super frank, right? Like I didn't realize what I was getting into when I started the farm. Like it turns out it's like the dumbest thing to farm. I could have easily bought some land and started buying like, planting flowers and
Why
have
didn't I
made
grow
much more
corn?
money. Yeah. Literally just plant anything else and you'll probably make more.
Yeah, that's funny.
But I really like kava, so I'm just going to stick with kava.
Well, but that's cool, man.
Well,
you know,
it
and you
became a
got to
labor of
start
love,
somewhere.
obviously.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah,
You know?
it's a passion project. I mean, I think it's something that like deserves a lot of respect, and I really appreciate
Yeah.
the people that have.
Well, that's
been,
why you're here,
farming
man.
for 3,000 years, and yeah.
Yeah, but that's why you're here because you reached out and we were intrigued by it, and this is fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating. That again, it's just a root. It's a plant-based root, people. It's nothing that is going to make you addictive. You're not going to like lose your job and your wife and your family and your house, live on the streets, in a van in the river. Van, what is that? Live in a van down by the river. This is just
Yeah.
going to help you function if you need something to help you function, and you don't want to get shoved, psychotropics down your throat, because that's what Western medicine starts with. Oh, let's medicate, instead of like, hey, let's find a homeopathic solution to see if that works first.
Or even better
Because-
yet, let's talk about
Yeah.
what you're going through. They don't even start there anymore.
No.
Yeah. I
That's
think
crazy.
that like to me, I mean, I really, early on I mentioned how I specifically don't really want to talk about medical claims just because of
Right.
FDA things. But I
Yeah.
also legitimately think that like when I go through a stressful period of my life, I always go to the thing that like, I go for a walk. Right.
Yeah.
I go talk to my wife. I go play video games
Right.
with my son. Right. Like I
Yeah.
do all of these other things to be healthy, right? Mentally
Yeah.
healthy,
Yeah,
right? And so
exactly.
I think that when the first instinct is to reach for a substance, that's a problem, right?
Agreed.
And you need to
Amen.
identify the root of the issue, right? And so to me, when I drink my kava, when I'm preparing that kava, it takes me 5 minutes, right? And I take that 5 minutes, the house is quiet and the kids are asleep and my wife is watching some terrible TV show that I don't want to watch and I get to have 5 minutes to myself, right?
Yeah,
And that's
yeah.
the time where I can kind of meditate and really think about what's going on.
Yeah.
And that is almost as important as the kava itself to me.
Sure.
All of those other things. Kava is just a piece of the puzzle
Right.
in my wellness sort of routine.
Right. And see, you hit right there, wellness, because a lot of the stuff that Mike and I started this show based around recovery and music, because that's what we know. We've known each other since 92, 93. We both had our struggles with addiction. So the foundation of this really was just music and recovery. And we had this stupid clip one show where we were talking, we had a guest that flaked on us, and we were talking about, if you want to be a guest on a show, anybody can be a guest as long as they're living and breathing and not a zombie. And that, believe it or not, that sparked this crazy amount of people wanting to come on our show, because like, oh, these guys are fun and they're funny and they're not. It's a conversation, if you haven't realized that. It's not an interview, because interviews are boring.
Yeah.
But when you talk about the wellness, that's the root of everything. I think that we as a society need to get back to. Everything just is about being well and taking care of yourself. We have one body, we have one soul, we have one vessel. That's it. We're on borrowed time. We're all terminally ill. So if you can live your life better by attaching yourself to this root called kava and help you get through some struggles and anxiety and stress or whatever the case may be, relax, sleep better at night, because it helps you sleep better at night, does it not?
Again, I can't really make that claim, but I can say
Okay,
that I like to drink
okay.
it at 10 o'clock at night.
And it helps you, but it helps you personally. Does it help you sleep better at night?
It helps me kind of wind down for sure.
Okay,
I have a
okay.
big problem with like personally when I definitely have an issue with sleeping, right? Like when
Okay.
I hit the pillow, my mind is going 1,000
know.
miles an hour.
Me too.
I need something
We
to
all have that in
stop
common
that,
for sure.
right? And so it definitely helps me kind of stop those
Okay.
thoughts from going crazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, we're not saying that kava is the end all to everything out there. We just want people to understand kava is not as bad as some of the things that people think it may be. Because again, when my wife Googled
Yeah.
it, it's habit forming, it's this, that. She's like, you're never drinking this. But
So that was the first. I guess we never
Right.
even went down that road. We squirreled for 40 some minutes away from that. That's important. What did Nikki find when she Googled that?
I would love
She's
to know
just-
that too. I wish she was here.
I know. She's a teacher, so she's I'll find out. I'll find out what she actually Googled, and I'll share it with you because I have your information now. But she she saw bad
Like right away,
reviews of
that's
it.
what starts
Yeah,
to come
that's
up.
what she saw. So that, to be honest with you, Morgan, piqued my interest even more because I knew you would have an answer to that. Because I don't think any human, unless your last name's Escobar, willingly step into a fundamental project to spread to the world if it's not beneficial on some level. Right? Pablo just wanted to get the cocaine out there, and that was purely money based, greed based, power based. But Kava, learning from you in just this short time, it's not habit forming. It's not addictive. You can stop it tomorrow after drinking it for 2 years and have no physical side effects whatsoever.
Well, it's a food, just like marijuana.
It's a
is
food.
plant.
It's been consumed for thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years. We've learned it originated in Congo. No, not Congo. What was it?
Vanuatu or
But yeah, that's what I was trying to
Fiji,
get.
Tonga, Samoa.
Right, Tonga.
those
That's what.
islands.
So yeah, it's something that's used by tribes through centuries. So it's like hemp.
Yeah, I mean,
it's been around for
one
centuries.
one last thing I think is very important
Yeah.
is that people say all sorts of things about the FDA, and they say all sorts of things about the World Health Organization. You may or may not disagree with them.
Yeah.
I'm not here to decide whether or not they're the greatest organizations or not.
Exactly.
I can tell you this. The World Health Organization is something that the FDA has been a member of for many years, right? They
Right.
recently left. But in the past, right, the World Health Organization, back in 2007, they did a very in-depth study, and they wanted to see, one of the first things you'll see is that kava causes liver damage.
Okay.
And the World Health Organization did a study in 2007, and they
Okay.
found that likely all of the cases of liver damage, happened in Germany from one company making one pharmaceutical product sourced from one farm in Vanuatu that was an extract product. One of them. That's it.
That's it.
Those levels of liver issues have never been seen before, never
Okay.
been seen outside of Germany, never been
Wow.
seen outside of that one product. So the
Okay.
World Health Organization 2007 showed that that product was to blame, likely because of contamination
Okay.
and or like what's the word I'm looking for? Basically, when
Commingling?
you're using, commingling with other substances, right?
Okay.
So think
Yeah.
of Germany. We just had
Yeah.
a lot of warm beer, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
you're telling me that a bunch of Germans are drinking something and it's causing liver damage? I wonder what it was.
You know what else will damage your liver if you take it every day? Ibuprofen.
Tell me.
Ibuprofen.
Hey,
Advil.
wild, right? So 2016, the World Health Organization submitted a proposal to make kava a food worldwide. And
Nice.
indeed, they did. They ratified that in 2020. The World Health Organization says that there's very, very little risk for liver damage. The National Institute of Health said that there's less than 1 in a million chances of liver damage from taking kava. That's a government-sponsored thing too. Less than 1 million in every
Yeah.
serving. You know how many
That's why I
millions of
bring
servings
my
are
example up,
consumed?
because my example
Yeah.
is a certified drug that will damage your liver that nobody talks about. And the first thing that we're finding when we Google something that won't damage your liver is that it will, right? There's just so much disinformation out there because you have so many lobbyists in Washington for the pharmaceutical companies who are saying, hey, we have to sell X amount of ibuprofen and Advil and all
Right.
these other drugs, or we're not going to be solvent and we can't do research and development, and your hospitals and everybody are going to suffer because of it, right? There's all these threats that if we don't make money year over year, our health is going to decline, and actually our health is declining because of that.
Well, and check this out. Nikki and I met a couple recently that they lived in South Africa most of their life, 6 years in Jamaica, and then they moved to Arizona, I think 3 years ago. They were never sick in South Africa or Jamaica like they have been since coming to Arizona and living in the United States. And it's all because in both countries, it's farm to fresh food. It's farm to table food. You get the fish comes straight from the ocean. It's you maybe have a day length of time. Nothing's processed. Bread gets moldy there in 3 days opposed to 12.
They don't have the dyes and all
Right.
that
They don't have all the bullshit that America does. So it's even more interesting that the World Health is behind kava, and how long would it take America to get behind something that's natural and it's grown naturally and it's not processed? Like we've talked about, Mike and I, forever. When we were growing up, Frosted Flakes was a balanced part of your diet. In what way? In what way is Frosted Flakes balancing your diet, man? It's
box of
99% sugar, right? But that's how we were grown. That's how we were conditioned. That's what we grew up watching, because at some point in time, the lobbyists decided, hey, we got to inflate this to get it out to the public. You know, our grandparents, I mean, at least mine, on my father's side, like, kid you not, a carton of cigarettes a week, probably 2 or 3/5 of whiskey a week, ate bacon and eggs every single day of their lives. Both of them probably had 2 or 3 bypass surgeries, but lived until they were in their 80s or 90s. But they grew up on unprocessed foods. But they grew up
during
on
their
farm, fresh
generation
foods.
is when they
Right.
started blaming that generation for eating bacon and eggs for the heart
Exactly.
disease. They didn't take into account what Chris just said. They drank a fifth of whiskey a week,
Right.
and they smoked a carton of cigarettes, right?
Yeah.
Was it those two things that caused the heart disease, or
Right.
was it the bacon and eggs?
Exactly.
We now know that it was the whiskey and the smoking for sure.
Right. Right. Because you can take the frame off the wall and see the white paint behind the yellow ring of smoke.
Look at all the morons that ate egg white omelets for all those years. It's like
Yeah.
the egg white really has about 0 nutritional value.
Yeah.
But the yolk has every amino acid needed to rebuild the brain cells that you need
Right.
to continue to
Right.
function, to not get Alzheimer's.
Exactly. I eat 2 to 3 eggs a day, and I'm still sitting here live and kicking, and my cholesterol level's normal. So,
I just
start
think
calling
these
you
points
Gaston.
are so important to reinforce what he's saying. This is a food. It's not going to hurt you. It may not work for everybody. That's why
Right.
I'm always careful to say, this is what works for me, right?
Yeah.
You can try it. It may not work for you. There's things that
Right.
didn't work for me that are going to work for other people.
well, and that's why I asked Morgan the question. Like, I know I don't want you to get out there on the podium and say this works like this, but that's why some of my questions were specifically related to just you for your personal use of it.
Opinion,
Because
yeah.
people like us, like all three of us, our brains don't shut off. They don't shut off. I go to bed, there's songs in my head, and I'm like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
I
very
have to
loud.
meditate before I go to sleep, like 10 minutes just to shut my mind off. You know, it's like I'm undiagnosed ADHD, but I'm never going to go on medication for it because that's just not who I am. It's just, you just got to deal with it. You learn how to cope. You learn how to deal.
When someone asks me how I can play a guitar, I say that's always going on in here. So
Right.
imagine being in my head, right? I can play it because I hear it. It's like a movie playing in my head that I can regurgitate out into the universe, but it's always there, you know?
Yeah.
It's there in your subconscious for recall, just like his lyrics and his melodies are there for him. He can sing all those songs in his head without the music.
Yeah.
That's
So
wild.
Kava's-
I can't.
It's a
man,
tough place to
sometimes-
be sometimes.
It is.
I mean, I like to play. I play the guitar. I play the piano.
Nice.
I play drums a little bit, or at least
cool.
I'm trying to learn. And so I'm kind of into that. But you know what? I never have quite figured out in my entire life. I remember when I was younger, my parents would get on me sometimes for listening to some music that apparently had some racy lyrics. And they're like, "Oh, you're," and I was like, I'm not even hearing what you're hearing.
Right.
And,
Thank you.
And I was
my
like,
mother.
I don't even remember what the lyrics are. And by the way, I cannot recite a lyric. It is not going to happen. So it's wild to me that people can do that. I don't know what's wrong with my brain, but I like the music part, but the lyrics, I don't remember them. Not going to happen.
How old are you?
I'm 38.
Okay, cool. Just because I'm 56, Mike's 50,
52.
52. Yeah. So I wanted, because the
Damn, you
music
guys are
thing,
old.
right?
Shouldn't
Right?
trust us. That's what we always said when we were your age. Don't trust anybody over 50.
Right. When I was a kid,
No, I
man,
did just have to think about how old I was. So I mean, maybe I'm
okay.
getting there.
No, it's okay. When I was a kid, man, when you hit 40, they had the over the hill parties. When you hit 55, man, people moved to the adult communities, and by 65, they were dead. And it's like, like 55 now is like 35. Like I can hold a
totally remember
9.5
being
minute plank.
25,
you know?
looking at somebody that was 50,
Right.
thinking, "Fuck, you're almost dead."
Yeah, and because the way they looked, just the way that it's amazing to me that there's still some people that I see that they look 59, but it's just how they live their life. It's
Yeah.
how you live. It's how you treat your one vessel that you have from cradle to the grave. This is what you got. So it's you know.
How
I'm
old
not
do you
gonna
guys
get-
feel like you are?
It depends. It depends. I'm going to say probably more in the 40s. People are shocked when they find out I have a 6-year-old grandson and a 3-year-old grandson.
I would agree with him.
You know,
And simply because when I was 4 years younger than you, I was in the throes of my addiction, and I was
Yeah.
almost dead. So by the time I got to be where you're at now, I had been sober for about a year and a half. So I progressively started feeling better. So I agree with Chris. It depends on the day. Points are what tell you all the
Right.
time that you're getting older.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But mentally and physically, I feel better now than I did when I was 35, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Like
amazing.
when I was 53, Morgan, my son's a Marine. So every now and then he'll shoot me something. And so when I was 53, he shot me a text, or maybe when it was 52, he shot me a text, say, "Hey Dad, I ran a 6-minute mile." I'm like, "I'm coming for you." "Well, okay, old man." So when I was 53, I work out at Orange Theory Fitness. You're in Arizona, so you probably heard of that.
Yeah.
So I used to do Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I'd do back-to-back classes. I'd be at one studio and then go from one studio to the other. While going to that studio, I'd hydrate, protein drink, and eat some, protein, homemade protein balls my wife would make me. So I hit 5 minutes 55 seconds at Studio One, and then an hour later I hit 5 minutes 55 seconds at Studio Two at 53 years old. I can run a half marathon in an hour and 48 minutes. I can hold a plank for 9.5 minutes. None of this shit could I do when I was 30.
I can't do that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So
Nor can
it's,
I.
and I'm not saying that to brag and boast.
That's
I'm just saying
amazing.
it's number one is because my son pushed me because I was going to catch him. So he held a 3-minute plank. I'm like, I'm going to get you, son. And I just kept going until I couldn't hold it anymore. And my best I could do was 9 minutes, 34 seconds because then I just had to fall down. But but that goes to the answer to your question. It's like, how do you feel? Well, it depends on the day, because the days that I would work out before I broke my foot, I was doing 8 workouts a day with Orange Theory and another 10 workouts during the week because I was doing 75 hard. I did 75 hard twice. The second time is when I realized I broke my foot, and that made me just focus on upper body for 8 months, which was great, which has helped me hold the plank for as long as I did. But I spend Thursdays, I live on an acre, so I spend Thursdays doing my yard, and every Friday morning I wake up, man, it's fuck me. Because I have grass. So I have a tractor, I have weed whacking, I have to take grass to the dumpster. You know what I mean? So it's constant movement for 2.5, 3 hours. So of course, regardless if you're 30 or 55, your body's going to be sore after that. I've learned to turn it into a workout, which people think I'm nuts walking across my yard with the bags of grass like this, But it's one of those things that it keeps you young because it keeps you active. You keep constantly moving, and then it's. But there are days, man, I wake up like, I'm not getting up. I'm going to sleep in. I'm going to stay in bed for an hour.
I think the key
Yeah.
for most people, and I've heard it from everybody who said what Chris just said, that you have to be active to stay young. But
Yeah.
the most important part of that, 100%, is stretching. The reason that people
Yeah.
start to get hunched over and they shuffle their feet is because they got up and they sat in a chair, and then
Right.
they walked to sit in another chair, and then they walked to lay on the couch, and then they walked to get in the shower, to sit down to put their makeup on or whatever. You don't realize that you are sitting so much, right? That's the
Yeah.
one thing that I'm lucky at my job. I walk like 4 miles a day, every day.
Yeah.
So you're going to burn
yeah.
more calories walking than doing anything, but you have to stretch. That's the first thing I do when I get up in the morning.
Yeah, it's interesting that you guys bring this up. I don't know when you guys started to become super fitness guys, or if you guys have always
I'm
done this,
not.
but
I just try and
I
stay
started
limber.
when I stopped drinking. Believe it or not, my addiction turned to working out, because I when I stopped drinking, I
Okay,
was 234 pounds, 6 feet. I was bloated, alcohol bloated, and my wife and I kind of went through a thing. So I needed something. So I've talked about it before on the show that addicts have to chase something. We need something to go after, right? You're a heroin addict. You're chasing that. I had a family member who was struggling with heroin. Towards the end of their addiction, they were chasing the needle piercing their skin. It wasn't the high. It was, is this needle going to kill me? Which if you think about it from an addict standpoint, we're chasing something. We're chasing the result of something.
You're chasing the
So-
first time every time.
Right. So when I stopped drinking, I had to replace that with something. So I drove past the gym. I'm like, oh, I'm going to go work out now. I'm going to go back doing that. And that's what it did. That's what all of a sudden hyper focus from no drinking to working out. And that's just been constant since. Because
It really is.
So, yeah.
It
yeah.
really is as simple as that. You're chasing the first time every time.
Yeah.
Your
And you
brain
need that. You
remembers.
need that.
That's the most euphoric your brain's ever felt, and it will never feel that way again, right?
Yeah.
You can't ever experience. It's like the first time you had sex. it's just that much less adventurous the next time and the
Right.
next time. You know, you have to
Wait,
find.
you guys are having sex?
Dude,
No, I'm just
I
equating
have-
that. I'm just equating that to addiction.
No, but that's what I'm. That's kind of my point. The dopamine, right? When
Yeah.
I never get runner's high, which sucks. But when I hit those miles under 6 minutes back to back, I was the first time I was like, holy shit! Like I was emotional. I'm like, I can't believe I did that. I started at 740 mile down to 555, and
It's
it
that
just
reward.
it was like, and part of it was like, I got my son. I beat him, and I rubbed it in his face, man. Like I rubbed it in his face, and then when I held
do
the
you think
plank,
that
I
you could
rubbed it in his
beat-
face.
Do you think you could take your son in a fight?
No, my son's a Marine. He's a black belt martial artist. There's no way. There's no way. My son would kick my ass. He would kick my ass.
Yeah.
I
wouldn't
literally
even-
just, I literally just heard Joe Rogan, and I laughed my ass off. There was a comedian sitting across from him, Eric Griffin, and Eric Griffin said this jujitsu stuff. He says, "Explain this to me practically." And Joe said, "You want me to explain it to you practically? If you and I were in a fight, I would kill you." That was the end of the statement.
Pretty practical.
And Eric said, "No, I mean, like, in real life, if we were going to tussle," and Joe's like, "I would kill you. I would grab you by the neck and I would just keep squeezing until your brain didn't function anymore." And then he
Yeah.
got the point. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
we are not
No.
the same. I am a black belt in jujitsu and you are not. I will kill you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm
the
trained.
reason I
I'm,
asked,
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Go
Well,
ahead.
the reason that I asked was because I started doing weight training about a year and a half ago, and I felt really great since. And I feel like it's been, I don't know why I never really did it before. I feel like it's strange to start, I suppose, this old doing that,
It's
but
not
it's been
strange.
very helpful.
Yeah.
And my whole life, I've always thought, my dad worked out all the time, and he could take me all the time, right? And it was only up until he had his heart attack about 6 months ago, where and he's alive now, thank goodness. But only now do I feel like I could actually take my dad, which is why I asked you, do you think you could take your son still? But I was never a Marine, so that's the very big difference between
Well.
your son and me.
Well, my son's a badass. But yeah, I'm trained, and I went through a period where I went through executive protection training because I deal with some people when I sell houses that there could be NDAs signed,
Sure.
And I got a bug in my ear from somebody I was working with. He said, "Oh, you should do this." So I could disarm somebody if I walked into a store or something and saw somebody that I could tell was I could easily disarm them, and put them on the ground. But to fight a Marine, there's no fucking way. Anybody in the military, I would not. I mean, I look like I'm in the military. I get it all the time because the way I look, and I thank people when they think I'm in the military because I'm a military family. I couldn't get in. That's another long story. But yeah, my son would kick my ass if he chose to. I don't think he could bring himself to throw a punch at his old man, but we have a
I don't
really good
see that
relationship.
happening.
I don't either.
Watch yourself.
My daughter, on the other hand, I've seen my daughter fight. She could fucking wail on anybody, man. She's just hard to go, but you piss her off, man, she'll go at you with a vengeance like you wouldn't believe, which is pretty cool.
Pretty awesome.
In a nice way,
Awesome.
right? And not psycho, but
No, that's a good quality for a woman to have, is to be able to defend herself for sure.
So we've run a little late, Morgan. I know you had your calendar till 11:30. But I want to share your site one more time because I want people to go buy your stuff and learn more about you because this is what we do. And you are welcome at any time you want to come back on the show. If something changes, if you have some new stuff going on, if you have some new lines you want to share, if you want to just update us on production, things like that, anytime you're welcome, man. So it's calmwithkava.com, and that's the calm is with the K. This is the website. All the products, like you got Shop Kava up here. We talked about it, the different kinds of types. I hate when websites do that. You got all these different kinds of types of kava. Definitely go through it. You got varieties. Mike and I have learned so much with you being on here right now, which
I'm
is
going to
really
do
cool.
a ton more research now, too. This has been awesome, man.
There's your kava
Yeah.
gummies. We kind of talked about the kava gummies, but we didn't circle back to it because ADHD. But there's your kava gummies.
Yeah. Well, and if you guys ever want to drop by, I know Chris, you're here.
I
in
can drop
Phoenix. I don't
by.
know, Mike,
Mike's in
if you're
Illinois.
ever-
I'm in the middle of a cornfield.
It'd be a long trip, Mike, but you're invited as well. If you ever want to kind of come by and check out the facility here where we import all of the kava roots and grind it up, I'd love to show you around.
I would love to do that, Morgan, because then I can make, if it's cool, if I'm allowed to, I can make a little video and stuff, and I can actually put it on our page.
That would be
sure.
awesome.
And
Hey, bring
help
your wife.
Yeah, I will, and help people understand, the benefits of kava as opposed to the, and I don't know how much of it's bad. I just know what she originally researched, and that's again, that made me wanted to have you on even more so, just to kind of talk about it and the benefits of it, because again, wellness should be a movement in America at least, because we are the fattest country in the world, and that's all because of what we're putting in our body from processing. You watched the show with Apache Joe. We've had nutritionalists on the show that have talked about so many things when it comes to health and taking care of your bodies. I think this is right up there with that. It's something that's root-based. It's been used for centuries, and it's something that may help you get through some struggles you're having with, as opposed to going to a doctor and taking psychotropic medications. We're not advocating for that. We're just saying,
It's an option.
it's an option. It's a homeopathic option, which is cool. So calmwithkava.com, that's with K's. We wrap the show up like this every single time, which I think you'll appreciate, Morgan. If you're feeling suicidal or depressed, don't do it. Go scream in a pillow, go journal, go work out, go outside and run. Find somebody to talk to. If you cannot find someone to talk to, text 988. Somebody is there ready and willing to help you get talked off that ledge, talked off that cliff. Don't leave a hole in somebody else's heart because you don't wake up tomorrow, because tomorrow, believe it or not, will be a better day with you in it. For the Chris and Mike Show, I'm Chris Hughes Mike. This is Morgan Smith of calmwithkava.com. That's calm with a K, kava.com. Check him out. Try his products. He's got a sampler one in there that's pretty legit. I'm going to grab that and just, we're going to tell Nikki, hey, babe, we're going to try this and see what she says. For the Chris and Mike Show, everybody have a great day. Love you, brother.
Love you too,
Morgan,
man.
thank you
Thanks
so much
again,
for your
Morgan.
time. Thank you for your time, man. We know that time is a valuable commodity, so we really, really, truly appreciate you coming on and sharing your story with us and your product. And I'm going to take you up. We're going to schedule time for me to come out, check out your facility.
Excellent. Awesome. Stoked to be here. Thanks so much.
Yeah, don't leave yet. Once we sign off, we got to make sure you're uploaded. See you, everybody.
You got it.
Peace.
Yep.